Howdy folks, Ben from Snows here today at the Brownhill Creek Tourist Park. Today I'm showing you how to set up the OZtrail 10P Fast Frame Lumos tent. This tent's got an integrated quick pitch frame that makes setup quick and easy, and tons of setup options around the outside of the tent with the awnings. You've got one on each end and a full length awning on both the front and the rear of the tent. Now this is the 10P Fast Frame Lumos tent from OZtrail all packed up. It's about 1.2 meters in length and about 30 centimeters in height and depth, depending on how tightly you roll it up, but they have allowed for a little bit of expansion in the bag here. There's a gusset that runs right around the base of the bag to give you about an extra sort of 5 or 6 centimeters in height there. Now it's by no means a lightweight tent. OZtrail say 35 kilos for the whole lot. I weighed it in at about 33. Either way, it's still a 2-person carry, and you're going to probably need a hand if you want to get it on a roof rack or anything. So let's start by showing you what comes in the bag. All right, we've got the inner tent here, which is the frame and the inner tent all integrated together. There's a frame wrapped up inside there. This is the fly sheet, which has got all the awnings, doorways attached to it. 10 awning poles here, steel awning poles, and 10 guy ropes to go with those as well, so you can set the awnings up. You get a bag of pegs. Now they're just lightweight pegs. It would benefit from adding probably 6 to 10 heavy duty pegs to your setup. It's all secured with a couple of straps here to go inside the bag, and you also get this battery pack here with a USB plug on the end. This takes 4 D-size batteries and gives up to about 250 hours of power from the integrated lighting system, but it's also compatible with a USB power pack, which might be more preferable rather than using disposable batteries. Now to get started, we want to put this stuff aside and we can spread the inner tent out. And there's quite a few poles and things rolled up in here, so before you spread it out too far, just try and work out the orientation. Now this power port here is going to be at the front of the tent, and there will also be a light switch under here somewhere that features at the front of the tent. So I actually want to spin this around this way so that my tent's facing this way. And then as you go, as you spread it out, just pull gently because you don't want to damage any of the frame. This all folds back over itself. There are lots of knuckles and things in here that will fold out, and you just don't want to force any of these components. So just let it come out naturally, ease it out slowly until it all becomes a big rectangle. So I've just got this pulled out loosely here. I haven't forced anything, just for effort's sake. I've got this set up at the moment. I'm sitting on top of a ground sheet that's about 5.5 meters long and about 3 meters wide. The tent's actually slightly longer than that and slightly narrower. Now, if it was windy, it would be worth putting a few pegs in the corners at this stage before the tent gets up too high, because the wind can pick it up and that'll cause damage to the frame. It's calm here today, so I'm not going to worry about it. Now, this can be easy with 2 people, but from here, you just want to ease this frame out, sort of invert all these knuckles. And as you go, you might find if you invert one side, the other side sort of collapses. So just work your way gradually around the tent, inverting all of these and also these end sections here. Now, when you get to these end ones, we also need to invert the poles at the end of the tent here. So do one end at a time. If we come around here and just invert these 2 poles as well, you might find this collapses a little. Just sort of balance it as you go. Come around to the back of the tent here. And once this is extended, we can see we need to always lift it up in the middle. This is where 2 people would be handy. But if we extend this center ridge pole out now, I just come and step inside the doorway at the back here, extend this out, it'll then stay in place, pull that until this locking pin locks into place there, and that's now going to sit in place. We can do the same thing at the other end and we'll start to see the frame taking shape. Now I put 4 pegs in just in the corners just to make sure the tent stays secure in case the wind does pick up. And what we need to do now is extend these legs down each side out to full height. Now I've had a bit of a play around. This is the first time I've set this tent up. I've had to play around with doing the end ones first, and what happens is that the pole sort of sags in the middle. So I'd actually recommend doing these center poles here first, extending these out to their full height, and then doing the end ones. What you might find is that this sort of collapses down, but you can fix it up as you go. It's going to be a whole lot easier with a second set of hands doing this, because you can kind of raise 2 sides evenly at the same time. Just doing one at a time does tend to twist the frame a little bit, and it's harder to get them to lock in. But if someone was doing this side here at the same time, it would go up much easier. So do these 2 front ones, do the same 2 on the back, and then we'll extend the end ones. So you can see the inner tent's now taken shape here. I would recommend just taking your time putting this up. Before the frame sort of up at this stage here, it's at its most vulnerable for damage, but firstly from wind and also just from forcing something in a direction it's not supposed to go. So use a second set of hands to just take your time to spread this out gradually and make sure the tent's taking shape nicely as you go. From here, we can put the fly sheet on. Now we can orient the fly sheet the right way with some color-coded tabs. So if I unfold this, somewhere in here, we'll see a couple of red tabs. Now there's a lot of fabric here. This is a big fly sheet. Here we go, there's a red tab. Now this tab will be one of the rear red tabs. There's a side release buckle here that marries up with a side release buckle on each corner. If I work my way along here, I should find a second one, one direction or the other. Here's a second tab down here. So these are our two rear clips. This one to the rear on that side, this one to the rear on that side. So I've got to try and get this fly sheet up over the top. Easiest way to do that is to open the door here, try and throw it over, or use a second set of hands. So it's got the fly sheet sitting on top loose now. Now there are tabs up underneath here to attach it to the frame. When you do these, start with the center one here. So we've got a Velcro tab here and do the top one up around the frame, just underneath the knuckle here. There is a second tab also about halfway down. Drop all of that. Another tab just here. If I do that one up now, it's going to make it really hard to get the tab up in the top corner at the end here. So I'd recommend doing these top tabs up around the whole tent first, and then going around and doing the second ones after as you clip the fly onto the base. So I've got the top Velcro tabs done up on each of these. I'm going to go around now, do this second one up here around the base. We'll have to undo this one later when we set up the awning, but we'll do it up for now. And then we can go around on all 8, on the base of all 8 legs, and put these tri-glide buckles into here, clip them down, tighten it up a little bit, and that'll be the fly attached. So the fly sheet's on and attached to the frame. There are other peg points that we can use at the base, around the base here. Which ones of these you use can depend on how you're going to set the awnings up, because this is actually part of an awning here, so I don't need a peg points in there. And there are also pegs that we can put in at the base of the actual frame here in the middle. So I've got 4 pegs, 2 on each end. I can put 4 more in the middle here, and that'll secure it to the ground pretty well. More importantly though, is that we use the guy ropes. Now I'm going to take a shortcut here today because it is really common. I've got a lot to show you, so I'm going to leave these out, but always use these. There's 8 guy ropes, 1 at each upright leg here. It's attached to the tent in 2 places, so you've got 1 peg that will peg out, and this kind of adjusts a bit with the wind if this moves a little. Always use these if you're setting it up for a long period in particular. Always use the guy ropes with a tent like this, because it's what gives it the stability. There are 6 pegs that I do want to put in, and they're at the rear of the tent and form part of the ventilation system. Okay, so that's the main portion of the tent set up. Obviously I've taken a shortcut in the guy ropes, but we can sleep in that as it is at the moment. It's weatherproof, but you have got a lot of options with the sides of this tent in terms of creating awnings. You can actually create a veranda right around the outside of the tent. What I'm going to do first to try and explain that to you is set this front one up here. So I've got 4 of these awning poles, and we can just extend these out. There's a loop on the end there, so we put it through these eyelets on the corners here. They don't easily come off. And with this front section here, what we can actually do is we've got a number of options. There's 2 eyelets on this section of the tent down here. There's another 2 eyelets on this middle section of the tent, and then another 2 eyelets on this section here. So we could leave this closed if we like, and then we've got windows here that we can just peg out as little awnings or roll completely open if we want. We could use that in conjunction with opening this middle door up and setting this up as just an awning over the entrance, and leave that side closed as well. But we've got all sorts of alternatives to that. We could just set this up as an awning if we like and leave this all closed on this side. Or we can set this whole front section up. We leave them zipped together with 4 poles. We can set this whole front section up so you've got this big veranda right out the front here. You can do that at the rear as well, but what I'm going to do first is just set this up in full, and then we'll try and explain the rest of it. So we've got this big awning set up right across the front here now. So I've got all this shade across here, and there are these walls that are on the end, and we've got a couple of options with these. There's actually a zipper that runs up the side here, so if we don't want them in place, we can unroll or undo the zipper, roll these up, and there are tabs at the top here so we can secure it up and out of the way to keep it open. If we want to close it down as a bit of a windbreak or a bit of extra shade, a bit more, maybe a bit more rain protection in light rain, zip this up and then just peg the corner. There's a peg on this corner here, or I'm just going to be a little bit lazy and just put 1 peg down on this corner here. just to secure it, and that's going to give us a bit of a wall on each end of this awning here. So we can see that's now protected. I'm going to do the same thing on the other end. So that's the awning all set up in full now. Our options here, as I explained before, I'll try and demonstrate a little bit now. You've got these zips that run down the middle here. So if I unzip this and did the same on the other side, I could close this down if I liked. I don't know why I'd want to do that, but you can just set up this side here, or you could close this down, switch this pole over to this eyelet here, and just have this 2/3 as shade with that one closed there. Or put both sides down and just have this center one set up if you like. So you've got plenty of options for the awning at the front here. 10 awning poles come with it. I've used 4 along the side here. You can also use an extra 2 on either end, either or both ends, because these doors at the ends here have eyelets in the bottom as well. And you can set these up as an awning out the end of the tent. So that'd be 4, 5, 6 here, awning poles. And then at the rear, you can set this up almost the same as the awning at the front, in that you've got a section here with 2 eyelets, a section here with 2 eyelets, and another section here with 2 eyelets. So you can set up a long veranda along the back here, or 1, 2, 3, or just 2 sections if you like. The only difference with the one at the rear here is that you don't have the side walls that you've got at the front. You have also got these windows here. You can unzip, set these up as a little weather protected awning over the window, so you're getting ventilation in the rain as well. So with the 10 awning poles that you get, you can set up this rear awning in full, the front awning in full, and one of the side awnings. If you wanted to set up another or both side awnings at the same time, you just need to grab yourself 2 extra awning poles. One extra thing I want to show you quickly for setup, and that's just to step inside the tent first. We just step inside the tent here and grab the power bank that came with our tent. This needs batteries inside, but you can also use just a USB power bank for this too if you like. This plugs in here, and that's going to power the lights that are featured up in the frame. You can't quite see it from here, but they're in the frame on the outside of this fabric here. And this can just tuck inside this pocket here. So that's quite a big unit. USB power banks are generally a bit smaller than that. So that's a nice little neat pocket to put your power source in. And that lines up or is operated through the switch that features in the wall here, both on the inside and the outside of the tent. That's how you set up the OZtrail 10p Fast Frame Lumos tent. Tons of features, lots of setup options, certainly easier to set up with 2 people. Pack up is just everything in reverse. First thing though is to start by taking down this awning at the front. Now once you've folded the awning down at the front here, you'll notice you got this extra fabric where those walls just kind of tuck up underneath. They do just kind of hang there. They don't have any particular place to go. So just try and fold them up as best you can as you go. Next step's to undo the attachments for the fly to the frame here. Now there's a tri-glide at the bottom that we need to undo. There's a second clip or a second tab part way up. Now I've undone the tri-glide on the bottom corner on the opposite side here, because you need to do that to be able to reach this 3rd clip at the top here. So you might find you need to undo all the clips at the bottom and then the first tab around the base before you can reach this top one here. So we've got 3 attachment points on each pole, 1, 2, and the clip at the bottom. On each pole we go around and do all that. And the fly sheet's just sitting loosely on top here now. Now fly sheets can be difficult to fold, particularly big fly sheets like this. So I like to try and pull it off the tent in such a way that it's already laying flat, and this would be easy with 2 people. Now a central point that we've got to reference is this seam that runs down the middle here. So if we kind of grab that and pull it, and don't pull too hard. If you feel it's caught on something, just go and loosen it on the other side. So I'm going to grab these 2 points here and just walk backwards while I hold this and drag it on the ground behind me. And then I've got the whole thing roughly folded in half. Once again, like I said, with 2 people, that would be a whole lot easier. But I can just straighten this out now a little bit, and I know it's folded roughly in half from there. I can sort of fold it in on itself and get a reasonably flat fold. So you can see I've got this laid pretty flat here now, so it's going to fold up nice and flat to go back in the bag. The seam that runs along the center of the roof is at the top there. These are the end doors kind of folded in half here, so now I've got it almost as flat as it could be. It's a 3-dimensional object, so you're never going to get it completely flat. And those sidewalls of the awning I've just kind of folded flat up underneath there. So if I now just go around and just start to fold this in on itself, I'd go end to end, fold that in there, fold this again, and just keep doing that, flattening it out as you go. And what you'll find is that'll end up with a nice and neat sort of package or neat result that's going to go back in the bag easily. And one last tip, when you're doing the last fold fold from the top of the roof to the bottom, so you're folding towards this open end. That way you're squeezing all the air out. Okay, we can now move to collapsing down the inner tent here. So before you get started, I'd probably just do the doors up, not in full, same with the privacy screens inside, just do them so they're hanging like this. If they're kind of bunched in a pocket, it's a big bundle of fabric and it can make folding it up difficult. If you just leave them loose like this, they fold up easily. We're going to go around and collapse the upright poles here, and we'll start with the end ones here first. So we've got these two. Just let them sit, don't force them down, just let them collapse down under their own weight there. We'll do that to each end, and then we can do the middle poles as well. Now we can move to the middle poles here, collapse these down, and I will also just mention I've still got pegs in the corners here at the moment just to keep the tent secure while it's in this stage. Once I've collapsed the other side down now, I'll be able to take the pegs out and we can let the frame collapse right to the ground. Okay, the pegs are out and the frame is almost collapsed right down. We do still need to collapse these ridge poles here. So we press the silver button here, let them collapse down, and the frame's going to want to almost just go down all by itself now. If we do that on both sides, and we then come to these knuckles in here and we invert these back the other way, it's all going to collapse down on itself. And we're almost at pack up stage. We just go to each end and make sure these knuckles are inverted too. And then we can actually bend these legs back in on themselves, back this way. And from this point, it can get a little bit awkward because we kind of need to bring all these poles up together in the middle. So once again, it would be a whole lot easier with two sets of hands. But what I do is grab these and just try and hold them together in the middle here. Now, if you're tall enough, reach down on the other side here, put all these up together in the middle. So I've got 4 different pole ends here, and I'm just gonna hold it with my legs against the middle frame and just sort of push it all together in the middle there like that. And then you need to do the same on the other side. But what I might actually do is just lay this flat. I can then come to this side here and grab all these poles. I'll hold them all together at the top here. I can then fold it right over the top. Once again, don't force any poles. I can feel that this one's not quite lined up where it should be. Just gently lay them in the middle. And I can feel now that they've all settled in a nice, neat sort of bundle in the middle of this fabric here. Now from this point, I'd suggest just taking a few minutes just to try and flatten this out as best you can. You're not going to get it perfectly flat, but if you get some sort of structure to it, it's going to roll up a bit tighter. I can now grab the straps, roll this up, tighten it up, and it'll go back in the bag. There's a few extra clips on these bags over and above the norm, so they've got these extra flaps down the side here. That just gives a bigger opening to get the tent into. So we clip those up, and then there's some compression straps over the top as well, just to hold everything secure inside the bag. Now, that actually went in the bag. So it's a fair bit of fabric to wrangle with, to pack up, but it actually went back in the bag really easily. So they've allowed extra space in this bag for the tent to fit into. And you've also got, which I haven't undone, this expansion gusset on the bottom here still. So the bag is plenty big enough to fit the tent into. And that is how to set up the OZtrail 10P Fast Frame Lumos tent. Awesome family camping tent. Fair bit to set up, but really livable once you've got it set up. You can check them out online at snowies.com.au, where you'll find them at our lowest prices every day. If you've got any questions, let us know down in the comments below. Subscribe to our channel, you get all of our latest information, or check out all the features of this tent in this video here.